we learned about how God visited Abraham and they talked about the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. God alluded to Abraham his plans to destroy the city for its wickedness. Abraham asked again and again about God's mercy, if there are any righteous left in the city. Now we will learn about how God will bring justice to the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Inspired
said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done. The cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were full of evil, licentiousness, rampant with murder, and indulgence in extravagant pleasures. They reached the point of clamoring against God, of fighting against him, and raging his disposition.
Where are the men which came into you this night? Bring them out to us, that we may know them.
After the angels took Lot and his family out of the city, burning sulfur rained down from the sky. The raging fire lit up the heavens.
Hurry up!
My house!
Our lives are on the line. Who cares about the house?
I'm not afraid. Just one look. Just one look.
Sodom, Gomorrah, and all their residents were reduced to ashes, disappearing into the wrath of God.
Boy and every man was gay, and they were all at Lot's house trying to have sex with the two men angels. And Lot said, no, man, these are angels. You cannot have sex with them. These are holy beings. We're not doing this. And the story is actually quite crazy because Lot ended up throwing either his or somebody else's I think it was a virgin, into the crowd, and she was raped all day, all night by these people. She ended up dying. Crazy story, bro. Crazy story. She ended up dying. But anyways, Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire because of the wickedness of the town. So if you see what's going on today and how they're pushing this gay agenda on every single man, child, baby, they're pushing this, pushing it. They got signs. It's okay to be gay. But you say in God we trust on the dollar bill. So if you talking about God, where in the Bible does it say that that's okay? Because last time I checked, that was said in the Bible to be an abomination to the Most High. So if this world is built on in God we trust, how in the heck is it now okay to be gay? Sin is sin. So we can't stop people from doing things. You know, it's not okay to go kill somebody who didn't do nothing. It's not okay. It's not okay to murder, you know what I'm saying? But that's like having billboards. It's okay to go kill. Like, it's okay to steal. It's okay to rob. That's what we're doing. We're taking something that is literally an abomination and throwing it and saying it's okay to do that. They're going to have signs soon. It's okay to be a pedophile. Live in your truth. Yeah, that's what it's coming down to. That's exactly where we're headed. It's okay to be a pedophile. And there's 477 people on this, and I'm pretty sure about 20 of you guys.
Even the birds agree. There are people right now saying, God, forgive me. God says, I'm going to restore all you lost when you give me that posture of gratitude. Change your attitude. He said, I brought you that far. I brought you I'm taking you from glory to glory. He said, follow my instructions now. Karen Williams, bless you. I've given you that. I've made a way out of no way. I did that. Where's the posture of praise for the Most High God? But what you do is you complain. You get in one situation when he delivered you from that last, and you start complaining. You start thinking about your life and comparing yourself to like, well, he ain't that, well, I ain't that, well, he ain't that. Well, and God says, and you won't, and you never, and you will never will because of your attitude. Your son may not be where you want him to be, but he ain't where he could be. You better be that. Your posture, it is a posture. He said, I bless the cheerful giver. The cheerful giver's posture is no matter what I got and what I don't, I give it all to God. And I'm not saying your rent, don't, because people will take what I'm saying, sound about it, and misconstrue everything I'm saying. I don't care what I got. I give God what is due. And some of y'all need to be ashamed of yourself because you forget it is a posture. You don't want nobody taking you for granted while we do it to the Lord Jesus Christ. Your kids take you for granted all the time. When they do something nice, you get scared. Hey, Ma. Oh, they said hello. They ain't cussed me out today. Ma, hey, how you doing? Well, this is what you do. Well, what you want? What you want? Hey, Ma. Someone said they got my son brainwashed. Hey, Ma, how you doing? And you wait, because you know they're going to ask you for something. Because they don't never be grateful for nothing. And the minute you tell them little crumb snatchers, no, we're not doing that. Well, you're the worst mother, I can't stay in that. Well, there's no gratitude. And so what you do? Nah, I ain't helping you because of your attitude. Have you ever got ready to help somebody and then you change your mind because they're going to, psh. Some of you right now, you messed up some good contracts because of your attitude. Messed up a promotion because of your attitude. You messed up a marriage because of your attitude. You messed up a friendship because of your attitude. Your attitude is going to determine who follows you. Your attitude determines where you go in life. Your attitude, your attitude. You better fix your posture and fix your praise. Fix your posture. Because if you don't understand, this posture will allow the enemy to come in. And it will take a beautiful posture and pollute it and disrupt your praise. And when you praise the Lord and say, thank you, he said, I can give you more because I can trust you right there, right there. Ooh, look, y'all, look. They ain't got nothing, but they praising me. They look. No, hold on. They go on the court. They go to court on Friday, but they're still praising God. Some of you need to give God praise for the outcome. The outcome. Don't tell me that, because let me tell you something.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Eli Talks TV. I'm back with another video. Now in this video, y'all, I'm gonna be talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, the city of wrath, the city of sin, and God's wrath, God's havoc that was soon to be expressed on this city. This city lived for about 4,000 years, maybe so. God had to tear this city down due to its sin. The murder, the violence, all of the necromancy, all of the vanity that was done in this city. God had to tear it down due to disobedience, due to the people going far off of the edge of its own humanity. Humanity at that time, at that point in time, was already at a distance. You see what I'm saying? From God. These people no longer had a reverence of God. These people no longer had a concern for God. They were no longer moving and operating in the spirit of God. Most of these people were already consumed by their sin. Most of these people were already consumed by their urges. Most of these people were already consumed by what was around them, their environment. Their environment consisted of nothing but negativity and sin included. And so that resulted in a lot of the saints, a lot of the Christians or something like that, having to be removed from this city because it would soon be destroyed. Now, Abraham, on the other hand, had prayed to God for the city to stay due to the other saints that were still in the city. You know what I'm saying? He would pray And he prayed to God. He said, if there be 10, you know, if there be 50, if there be 40, if there be 30, then God, can you keep the city, you know what I'm saying, instead of just tearing it completely down, you know, because why would you tear down this city full of really just sinners, but there's also saints that also live there. So it's almost having to be set apart, you know what I'm saying, in an environment, in a city, in a place, in a culture that is predicated on nothing but sin, nothing but living on the outside garments of God, nothing but living as their own God, as their own pleasure, because they're worshiping their own pleasures at this point. You see what I'm saying? Mankind is already on a stronghold, on a delusional stronghold, and they're tied down to their delusions and their strongholds due to their disobedience to God. You see what I'm saying? So God had to use Abraham. God had to use Lot. God had to use specific people. He used Abraham's family to drive, and he drove them out of Sodom and Gomorrah. You dig what I'm saying? Abraham was left with his two daughters, and his two daughters had to sleep with, well, I'm going too far into the story, but his two daughters did have to sleep with him in order to advance humanity, because humanity at that point was already destroyed. So anyway, going back to the city. So the city, right, there were, you know, God had gave Abraham these two angels, these two men that were going to have to be governed by Abraham to make it out the city, to be far subjected to these men of the city that were full of this lasciviousness, the sin, and they wanted to subjectify and objectify these two men because they were still pure, they were still pruned, you know what I'm saying? They haven't been touched yet. You see what I'm saying? So they wanted to go after these two men. They wanted to subject these two men. They wanted to objectify these two men because they haven't, again, been touched yet. So they realized that they were hidden in Abraham's household. So they went to Abraham's, these sinful men, right? These sinful, lustful men went to Abraham's household, and they had came into Abraham's household to really just break it down and objectify and come after these men. You see what I'm saying? That Abraham was designed and assigned to protect. So what had to happen was the angels had to come down, you see what I'm saying, and stop these two men from objectifying these men. You see what I'm saying? From having their way with these men. So they had to go out their way, stop them, and really just wreak havoc on this city, because now it's like it's gotten to the point where it's outside of Abraham's control, and now they're trying to wreak violence and really just cause more traumas and stuff like that in the city. So what he had to do was, right, what Abraham had to do was he had to move out the city now. You see what I'm saying? Because now they are attacking the family. Now they are attacking the assignment that was placed upon Abraham to protect his family and protect the people that were surrounded around his family. You see what I'm saying? So now what he has to do is move out this city with all this lasciviousness around him, with all this sin around him. And the angels had to come down from their spots, you see what I'm saying, from the kingdom of heaven, and push and cause havoc and violence and stuff like that amongst his city, and really just interrogate these men, these lustful, sinful men from this family, you know, from Abraham. So what they did, right, is they guarded Abraham. They moved him out the city. You see what I'm saying? They moved him out of harm's way. You see what I'm saying? And Abraham became obedient. Abraham was always obedient. He was always in prayer. He was always in that covenant with God. Because Abraham, just like in that last video that I had, Abraham established a covenant with God. He established an agreement with God, a mutual agreement, a mutual covenant with God. So he didn't have to go through a lot of the things that a lot of people around him were going through. he actually stayed real around a fake culture. He stayed authentic with God. He stayed connected to God around people who wanted to disconnect from him. He stayed focused on God around a group of people in a group and environment in a culture that was no longer focused on God. You see what I'm saying? Because they were all underneath their own delusions. They were all underneath their own devices. You see what I'm saying? They were all practicing murder. They were all practicing sin. They were all practicing the same things. You see what I'm saying? That drove them away from him. So these people were already subjectified underneath the rules and regulations of mankind. You see what I'm saying? Of man's own way of living. Do what thou wilt. You see what I'm saying? You see it with a lot of celebrities. You see it with a lot of people nowadays. They want to do their own thing and not really too much of care of the consequences that they have to suffer or face after that is done. You see what I'm saying? They rather get all their sin out the way first, get all their stuff out the way first, and then get to serving God. But then when that happens, it's too late. You see what I'm saying? Because then you're too far gone into your sin. So anyway, let me not get too ahead of myself. So with the story of Abraham and with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, the angels moved them out the city, and it was Lot and Abraham, and it was also Sarah, Abraham's wife, that were in this city, and they were moved out this city along with the two daughters that gave birth to Isaac and gave birth to Ishmael, I believe. And they all moved out, right? They all moved out the city, and the wife of Abraham was told not to look back. You know, how many times are we told not to look back on our circumstances? How many times are we told not to look back on a season that kept us in a dry land, like in the book of Ezekiel, that kept us in a dry season? Our dry seasons were not meant to be looked back upon. We're not meant to go back to those people. We're not meant to go back to that land. We're not meant to go back to that city. We're not meant to go back to what broke us. We're meant to move forward into what God has in store for us in the future. That way we can move forward and we can be brought by God and his commandments, and we can be brought by God's protection, and we can be guided with his angels in that protection because of our covenant with God. So if we don't have a covenant with God, if we don't have that divine protection and leadership and guidance through God and by the help of his angels, then we will look back on our circumstances and on the people that we had to once leave behind, and we will also be stuck with those people, and we will turn into a pillar of salt. So what happened with Sarah was, right? Sarah turned into a pillar of salt. She turned into a pillar of salt because she was too consumed by leaving and having to do away with her old lifestyle. A lot of us have lifestyles. A lot of us have certain things about ourselves that we have not left behind yet. So we wonder why we're stuck in these circumstances. We're wondering why we're stuck in these situations. We're wondering why we're stuck in these relationships, whether it's sin, whether it's whatever it is. We wonder why we're stuck, and we keep looking back. We keep having to go back to what God already set us free from. So it keeps us stuck. It keeps us centered in that area. You see what I'm saying? And so just like with Lot's wife, we do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? We do the same exact thing. And then what God got to do is he got to bring us somebody like Abraham. He got to bring us somebody like Lot. He got to bring us these type of people to administer to our souls and to our spirits that there is actually a way out of this. That there is an example that is set right there that we can follow, that we can be led by, and that we can be governed by, and we can see how God is working through these people's lives, and we can see how God is working through how these people obey God, how these people can objectify their sins and objectify their life and objectify their flesh to God, and we can see how it actually helps them out in the end, and it actually leads them out of circumstances. It leads them out of certain sins. It leads them out of certain mindsets. It leads them out of certain broken situations, broken relationships, broken finances, broken mentalities, it leads them out of those broken situations because of their obedience to God and because of their ability to obey God and obey his instructions and come to the point where they are no longer in the way of God's will. You see what I'm saying? Or no longer in the way of God's instruction on their life, because now they have given that instruction up. They've given their flesh up, and they're allowing for God to pour into them, allowing for God to adhere and minister to their inner voice. You see what I'm saying? And allow for them to be guided into promised land, promised territory. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So back to the story. So just like Sarah, we look back on circumstances and situations. Just like Abraham, we are being told to be led and instructed by God on how to maneuver ourselves and you know what I'm saying, get out these situations by the voice of God. You see what I'm saying? We're told not to look back. We're told to be governed by our by that inner voice. You see what I'm saying? We're told to not want to go back to our lasciviousness. We're told not to be like the people that are in our land. You see what I'm saying? That do these sinful deeds. You see, God says, be not of the world. You see what I'm saying? Yes, be you are in the world, but you're not of the world. You see what I'm saying? You be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You dig what I'm saying? We can't be thinking like everybody else. You can't do what everybody else do and think you're going to be set free and think you're going to have a godly life and a sinful life at the same time. It doesn't work like that. So we can't live in the city and then want to live in the kingdom. You dig what I'm saying? It's two different circumstances at play. It's two different worlds at play. It's two different ideologies at play. It's two different sets of standards at play. It's kingdom standard and there's city standard. You want to be a city individual, you live just like the heathens. You want to be a kingdom individual, you live just like the kings and the queens. You dig what I'm saying? So this is how we determine who is really of kingship and who is really just a peasant. You dig what I'm saying? And living on the lands of the pharaohs and the Pharisees and all this other stuff. So we have to get to the point, right, where we are no longer concerned with our past. We are no longer looking back on what God has already separated us from, who God has already separated us from, the sin that we were already separated from. You dig what I'm saying? The things of this life, that the things that the world pushes out to you, the advertisements, the food, the celebrities, the people, the money. You dig what I'm saying? All the opportunities and stuff like that of the world, all of its vanity, the sex, the greed, all of it, the technology that the world puts on you now, that is so alarming in its senses, it's alarming to your senses. Whatever alarms you to your senses, the murder, you dig what I'm saying? All of it, whatever alarms you to your senses and gets that alarm to go. You see what I'm saying? That gets that to stir up in your spirit or stir up in your soul. That whatever you feed, you become. You dig what I'm saying? So if you feed yourself of the land that's around you, that's negative, just like Babylon. If you feed yourself of the promised land that's around you, just like the kingdom. If you feed yourself of the Sodom and Gomorrahs of the land, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. You see what I'm saying? And you feed yourself of this stuff, that's what you become. You see what I'm saying? You will start to look like what you feed yourself. You will start to look like and act like what you are around. So if you act like and look like what you are around and you feed yourself these things in your mind, you will start to represent what kingdom you are of. You will start to represent what God you serve. So if we talk about idols, right? If we talk about idols, what idols do you represent? Do you represent God or do you represent Satan? It's all in your actions. It's all in what you idealize. It's all in what you follow. It's all in what you allow to enter into your voice and to enter into your eye gates, your ear gates. You see what I'm saying? It's all about what you allow to enter in, and it's all about what you serve. You dig what I'm saying? On an everyday basis. We may not say that we serve celebrities. We may not say that we serve sin or something like. We may not say that we serve these things, but it shows in our actions what we do. It shows in our actions what we are accustomed to. It shows in our actions what we actually like. You see what I'm saying? What we actually put before God. Anything and everything that's put before God is already an idol. It is already your God, and you've already made that the placement of who you will serve. It can even be people. You see, it can be family. It can be friends. It can be lovers. You see what I'm saying? It can be whatever sin that you are dealt with that you are not willing to let go of and let God. You see what I'm saying? Whatever it is. That can be whatever idol that you've already placed before him. And that can be what you serve in the land. You see what I'm saying? So that can reflect in what you say, and it can reflect in what you do. So if we are talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, just going right back to that story, if we are talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, right, and we're talking about trying to be set apart, we're talking about how to separate and differentiate ourselves from Sodom and Gomorrah, we have to think more kingdom-based. We have to be more kingdom-based. We have to allow ourselves to have the mind of God, the mind of Christ, to come out from among them and be separate from them and not look back and not want to turn into a pillar of salt because we can't let go of the things of the past. You see what I'm saying? Let go of these past versions of ourselves that no longer serve us. Let go of these people that no longer serve us. Let go of conversations that no longer serve us. Let go of mindsets that no longer serve us. If we keep those things in our life, we will not enter into our promised land. Just like the season of dry bones, we will be dried and we will be broken because we never left what broke us. So if we want to leave out of Sodom and Gomorrah, we have got to leave behind our idols. So anyway, going back to the story. So just like with Lot's wife, she turned into a pillar of salt. We turn into a pillar of salt when we can't leave behind the things that God's already called us out of. When we can't leave behind the things that we've already been delivered from. When we can't leave behind the people we've already been rebuked from. You know what I'm saying? That we've already been told about. You see what I'm saying? When we can't leave that behind, that's when we get dealt with. When we turn into a pillar of salt. That's when he leads us to our strong delusions, and then we are caught up in a lost, vacant city with no vision, with no purpose, with no livelihood, because now we are just dead people living dead lives with dead circumstances and dead situations and dead other dead people, and we just serving each other's lust. We're just serving each other's greed. We're just serving each other's ideologies through our own sins. You see what I'm saying? We're projecting, we're cursing, we're doing all these things, we're killing, we're murderers, because none of us have vision, none of us have a purpose, none of us are living for anything. We're just out here just living. You see what I'm saying? We're just out here just doing without will. We're just out here just doing, and we don't want no responsibility on our hands. We don't want no morals. We don't want no correction. You see what I'm saying? We just want to live our lives without any responsibility at the end of it. You see what I'm saying? That's why people would rather just be atheists, and they rather not believe in heaven and hell. They rather not believe in God. They rather not follow commandments. They rather not follow rules and stuff like that, because it's too vacant. It's too alarming. It's like, dang, man, I can't live my life. I feel like I can't live my life and do what they do. Well, if you want to live your life and do what they do, then you be in the land. You dwell in the land. Now, if you want to be separate, then you think different, you act different, you walk different, you talk different. You will become different from what your environment is telling you to be. You see what I'm saying? From what society is telling you to be. So what society is trying to tell you how to act. You see what I'm saying? You become different, you look different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody will realize that there's something different about you because of your approach, because of whose you belong to and what you've been called by. What you focus on becomes your focus. So if you focus on bad, that becomes your focus. If you focus on what's in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is already tearing down, God is already getting ready to call hellfire on, then that will become your focus, and you would perish with the people. You will perish with the evil in the land. You will perish with Sodom and Gomorrah, because Sodom and Gomorrah is not only a city, but it's also your mindset. You can live in Sodom and Gomorrah every day. You can be with Sodom and Gomorrah every day. You can sleep with Sodom and Gomorrah. You can talk to Sodom and Gomorrah. You can talk like Sodom and Gomorrah. You can act like Sodom and Gomorrah. You can walk like Sodom and Gomorrah, because it's not just a city. It's not just a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. So if we talk about Sodom and Gomorrah can happen within your life every day, because it's what you serve, it's what you focus on, it's what you put your attention and your energy in, because now it's what you become. So you can go to church every day, you can listen to sermons all day, But at the moment you exit out that church and you start acting like the world, which is Sodom and Gomorrah, you ain't too separate from them, because now they recognize that, hey, you got the same antics I got. You talk just like me. You walk just like me. There's nothing about you that's separate. There's nothing about you that says different. There's nothing about you that says, okay, this individual is not of the same land that we are in. You see what I'm saying? This individual is not in the same mindset that I'm in. So who is this individual? You see what I'm saying? Do you really stand out, or do you really just stand in? A lot of people want to stand in instead of stand out, and that's why they are not differentiated between Christian, or they are not differentiated between worldly, because they want to stand in. They want to be a part of the crowd instead of set apart from the crowd. So it makes them want to blend in with those who don't even really like them. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't even like them. They don't even like the things that they do. They hate themselves as well. That's why they do the things that they do on the each and every day basis, because they serve themselves. This Sodom and Gomorrah thing that we're talking about is all self-consumed. Sin is all about self. If you didn't realize that, yet, then you got to realize that sin is all about you. You see what I'm saying? When we talk about gay pride, right? And just taking it as an example, when we talk about gay pride, what is pride? Pride is all about self. Pride is all about self. It's all about me. When we talk about spirituality, when you hear the tarot card people, the divination people, they're always talking about themselves, because it's self-served, it's self-consuming. Sin is self-pleasing. It's all about greed in every other area, in every other way, because I'm serving myself. I'm serving the way that I think. I'm serving the way that I am. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people want to be the alpha and omegas of their own life. You see what I'm saying? Instead of relying on the alpha and omega to be their lifeguard, because it's all about self. It's all about what I can get out of this life, and I'm not going to serve anybody else. I'm not going to be pleasing to anybody else. I'm just going to live for myself. And anybody else is just like, you just kind of like, you just there. You know what I'm saying? You're just there to serve me. You're there to serve me, my pleasures, what I like, and I don't want nothing to do with you. So I dwell in this land. I dwell in this mind state. I dwell in doing people wrong. I dwell in having to take from you, because I have nothing to give. There's nothing to give in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah. But, you know what I'm saying, take. You're going to be filled with takers. You're going to be around takers, because that's all that Sodom and Gomorrah is about. We want to take from you. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to give no more. Why is that? Why don't people want to give no more? Why don't people want to be able to be of active service to others? Because it's all about what I can get out of this circumstance. It's all about what I can get from you. It's all about what I can get from this hustle culture. You see what I'm saying? Independent culture. You see what I'm saying? Red pill culture. You see what I'm saying? It's all about me, and what I can get out of these individuals, these circumstances, to fall in line with my will, because I want my will to be done. So when you get to the point where it's all about my will and what I want in this circumstance, in this situation, out of this person, then you will get Sodom and Gomorrah, because now it's no longer predicated on helping. It's no longer predicated on servitude. It's no longer predicated on God. It's no longer predicated on love. It's predicated on sin, lust, greed. All of these things that are of the father who was of Satan, these people practice on an everyday basis, and they don't realize it. So that's why you get transgenders. That's why you get, gays and stuff like that. That's why you get narcissists. That's why you get a lot of these things, a lot of these people. It's because it's all self-consuming. It's self-concerned. It's not about trying to uplift anybody else but me, because I'm the only thing that matters in my world. So if I'm the only thing that matters in my world, why should I uplift your world? Why should I take you out of your city if I'm lost in my own city? If I'm lost within my own translation? If I'm lost within my own sin? How can I help you out? I can't help you out. I can't be of service. I can't be of help, because I have no love to give. but to consume. You see what I'm saying? So this is a very consuming spirit that's on the land right now that wants to consume everything and anything in its power. And that's why nowadays we're seeing more idols being set up. We're seeing more statues being set up. We're seeing statues now being set up in the land. We're seeing all these things being set up now. You see what I'm saying? Why is that? CERN. We got CERN up there now. CERN is another self-loathe type of thing that now they trying to upload portals in there. You see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna talk about that too. But they're trying now to upload portals into the earth and cause more negativity in the earth, because now it's about that time. You see what I'm saying? Their God is already going to be revealed through chaos. And if their God is going to be revealed through chaos, what do they need? They need more of that. They need more of Babylon. They need more of Sodom and Gomorrah. They need more. They need you to sin more. They need you to think more negative. They need you to be more negative. They need you to consume, take, and involve yourself with more of the land, because this is what everybody has to get on one accord. This new world order, everybody has to get on one accord to what we're serving and what we're loathing in, and nobody needs to be separate. Nobody needs to think different. That's why whenever you think different, whenever you do different, you get looked at as weird. You get looked at as, okay, this individual is an oddball in the group. Why is that? Why is they the oddball if they're just thinking and operating out of a different type of set? Why is it that these people are looked at as villains when they start to speak the truth? Because the truth is not popular anymore. The truth is something that that they won't water down, because now if you speak the truth to somebody, it's almost like cussing at them. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like cussing. Man, you start speaking truth to power, man, it's like you cussing somebody else now. They start throwing temper tantrums. They start throwing a fit. They get to looking at you like, man, you feel me? They start having all types of hate in their heart, and they start almost transmute and transform into this completely different individual. You see what I'm saying? Because now they will hate truth. They will call good evil and evil good, because now we are not in a land where it's permitted to be of righteousness, where it's permitted to be of holiness, where it's permitted to be of just raw masculinity or raw femininity. It's not permitted, because now it's looked upon, it's cast upon as a threat, as a weakness. Because now it's like, if you speak the truth, if you try to get out of Sodom and Gomorrah, if you try to think a different way, operate a different way, if you try to follow the commandments, if you try to follow these rules, set of regulations and instructions, then now you're being a threat to us. And what we got to do is we got to come knocking down on your door, knocking down on your house, and try to kill you, and try to kill whoever is with you, because now you are a threat without even being recognized yet. You see what I'm saying? Without those men even recognizing who was in that house, they already knew that it was something about those two men that they needed to get from. You see what I'm saying? It was something about Abraham. It was something about Lot that they needed to take from. It was something about them that they needed to get, without them even realizing it, without them even recognizing it. So if you're in this land long enough, people will sooner or later recognize that you are of a different type of breed, that you are of a different species. You're not like us. So automatically you become a target. Automatically you become a victim to their abuse. Don't be a victim to their abuse, because if you become a victim to their abuse and you fall short because of brokenness, then you'll stay in there with them. You'll stay in that city. You'll stay in that lot. You'll stay in Sodom and Gomorrah, and you won't move. And then you'll be doing what they do. And then you'll be smoking how they smoke. You'll be drinking how they drink. You'll be talking like how they talk. You'll be walking like how they walk. You know what I'm saying? You'll be trying to think how they think, because now you haven't separated yourself. You haven't came out from among them. You haven't called yourself a priesthood. You haven't walked as an individual that's not subjugated to the things that's around them, that didn't allow for the sin to seep in. Because most of those who get lost in this translation, who get lost in the wrath of God, who get lost in this city, they subjugated, man. They gave up a long time ago. and then they allow for they to just really just sit in their sin long enough, and then that sin encaptures them, and they become just like what they try to leave behind. And so by the time they try to leave it behind, it's too late, and God, boom, cast down wrath, cast down everything. He destroys everything in Sodom, and then the city is no more. It's no more. You see what I'm saying? He cast down judgment. It's no more. And then everybody that was lost within that city dies in that city. You lost in your sin, you die in your sin. You see what I'm saying? You lost in translation, you die in translation. You got to become. After all this is said and done, there's a becoming that needs to happen amongst this planet. But we won't be able to become if we stay subjected to the city. We won't be able to get to the promised land if we are so comfortable in the city. The city meaning the sin. The sin is in your mind. You see what I'm saying? In your environment, what you allow in your mind, what you allow in your environment, what you allow in your inner man. You see what I'm saying? If the inner man ain't stronger than the flesh, then the flesh was just like Sodom and Gomorrah will take over. And you will become just like the flesh. You will become just like the city. You will become just like the environment. You will become just like those who are around you. And you will become just like what you are getting ready to be saved from. And then you will die with that sin. You will die with that flesh. You will die with Sodom and Gomorrah. Because Sodom and Gomorrah has no pity for nobody. Because it doesn't care about nobody. And who rules over this world? Satan. So if Satan is the ruler of this world, who you think is behind all this entertainment, man? Who you think is behind? Who you think is gonna be behind it? Satan. So he's gotta do whatever he's gotta do to get you to bend to his will, bend to his motives, bend to what he wants you to do. The longer you do it, the harder it is to get out. And then you'll look back and be no more. So anyway, that's the message. That is the message. I don't think I gotta speak on nothing else. I spoke for a whole 30 minutes, I believe. If y'all got that message, then, type amen, type, you feel me, 100, whatever y'all need to type in there, man. Just type it in there. Show support, like, comment, share, subscribe to the video. And if you got that message, just, let me know something. If you want more of these, let me know something. So that was Sodom and Gomorrah, y'all. Hopefully I skimmed it up to the best of my ability. Abraham, Lot, Sarah. That's what you need to know. And the sins that were in Sodom and Gomorrah were unreplenishable. God could not restore that city. That city was so far off to the point where it couldn't be restored. America is so far off to the point where it's damn near to the point where it can't even be restored no more. God has to destroy it because these are the end times. So anyway, don't fall subjective to Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah can not only just be a city, but it could also be your mindset. So don't subject yourself to it. Fall out. If you make it out that situation, if you make it out Sodom and Gomorrah, if you make it out that mindset, if you make it out from that individual, if you make it out from that place that was meant to break you, don't look back. Don't look back and turn to a pillar of salt. You stay moving forward. You know what I'm saying? You ask for God's guidance and protection, his covenant, that will guide you and protect you. Ask for his angels to lead you out that situation, out that city, out that mindset, out there from among that person. And you allow for him to lead you out while he destroys all the temples, while he destroys all the idols, while he destroys all the things that you put before him, that you sinned before him. He destroys it all because you left it behind and you let him do his work. So let God do his work in your life today. I'll leave y'all off with that message. Y'all be blessed by that. Deuces.